Guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Dubai. This is season 2, episode 12. So let's get into it. So before we get into it, you guys, y'all know sometimes we get a little spicy, just a little bit, and I just have three things to talk today about. So first up, the reunion looks came out. I have a detailed the drama video where I gave my more of my opinion on the ladies' outfits. I said overall, I thought everyone looked beautiful together as a cast. My best dress was Lisa, and my worst dress was Talene. But honestly, it wasn't worse in the sense of like I thought her dress was like ugly. It just wasn't my style, and it reminded me of like a leotard with the fabric, but I don't think she looked bad. Just out of the whole entire bunch, her outfit just didn't do it for me. But I thought Lisa looked beautiful. The next thing I want to talk about is Caroline Stanberry. She did an interview with Gibson where she talked about the reunion, and I thought what she said was pretty interesting. So let me play it for you.
How did that day go? Because that was just a week or two ago.
You know, oddly, I was really excited going into it, which I didn't feel the first season. I was kind of like, oh my God. So I got to really enjoy the day, even the bad bits or the bits that you feel are going to be terrible. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I can't tell you. I kind of feel like, you know, the drama wasn't really my drama.
That's good.
Yeah, which is a first. And, you know, I loved every minute of it.
I love that you loved it, but I feel like, you know, as a viewer of the show, I was kind of hoping for some sort of resolution between Lisa and Chanel Ayan. Obviously, you and Lisa have had your issues as well, but it seems as though, judging by some posts that went up on stories after the reunion taped, that resolution maybe didn't fully come.
Well, I don't want to ruin it, but I do feel a lot of things happen in friendships, right? That's not to say they actually all went with a good what do you say, heart. You know, I think that reunion is all the worst parts are poked at you and you relive them, right? So even if you don't completely make up on reunion or you don't get the resolution you want, that doesn't mean to say it's not possible in life. You know, I think that a lot happens in that day. You know, it's a 14-hour day really, and everyone's tired at the end and everyone has to have a go.
So it seems like Caroline isn't going to be fighting too much at the reunion, which honestly, the only person she had an issue with was Lisa and Brooks, but the issues by the end of the season were kind of resolved. So she's kind of right. It doesn't have anyone to like really beef with. I guess the reunion is going to be mostly focusing on Lisa versus Ayan, Brooks versus Talene, and then Sarah might be sprinkled in there because she had a situation with Lisa and she had a situation with Ayan, and that's about it. But it's nice to see that Caroline is like, you know, it's the reunion. Just because things are mended, it doesn't mean that these people can't work their issues out. And hopefully what she's saying is true. I mean, we know Talene and Brooks, I don't know if they're ever going to be the same. Probably not. And maybe not even what's her name? Lisa and Ayan. But it would be nice to see, if they come back for a season 3, people moving forward and redefining what their friendships are now at the place that they are now. Because I think every relationship needs change. You know what I mean? So the last thing we're going to talk about is Lisa versus Talene and Brooks. So last night on the episode, we saw a situation that transpired between Brooks, Lisa, and Talene. And somebody by the name of Variety Bits said this: the fact that they think Lisa went too far by keeping the same energy and checking people for talking bad about her business. I feel like I'm being gaslit right now, RHO Dubai. So then Lisa quote tweeted this person by saying they wanted a reaction. They were in the group chats plotting on me and my business the whole time, and it wasn't just Brooks. Hashtag RHO Dubai. So then Talene responded by saying, just gonna leave this here. I was trying to diffuse the situation. I'm in the green. Nobody was plotting anything. So if you read the green, it looks like Talene was having a conversation with Brooks. And she said this: babe, I see your point completely, but remember your business is a beauty salon. It's a bit different than just a spa. But again, I get it. I get it, and I can see why you're upset. I don't think Lisa's thought was purposely doing anything to wrong you personally, or maybe it looks like it was her place. So then Brooks hopped into the chat and said this: should I post the entire conversation? Would the fans actually like to see what wasn't shown on the show? Context is important. People should be held accountable. Hashtag RHO Dubai. So Lisa is saying that the girls were plotting on her, and Talene is saying, girl, it wasn't a plotting. I was trying to diffuse the situation between you and Brooks. And then Brooks is like, well, there was more to the story. Would you like me to post it? And so she did, because Brooks likes to post receipts. So this is what she posted. She said receipts. In the first slide, it's shown the image that Caroline Stanberry sent me of the setup of Lisa's event. Then she called me. As mentioned before, Stanberry was the one who had the issue with it first. Sergio had a lot to say too. I'm in the green text, Talene's white text, RHO Dubai. So you do see a picture of Lisa's Insta story with the setup of the spa day, and Talena's in white saying, I know I saw this. And then Brooks is saying unacceptable. Caroline sent this to me. And Talene said, agree. And then it goes on to say, she told me don't watch the stories. And remember, Brooks is in the green, Talene is in the white. So Talene says it looks like a spa. And then Brooks said that she said they had to clean this up. It's absolutely not okay. Sergio saw it yesterday and he told me and was like, WTF. Now everyone understands. So then Talene responded by saying, no, it's not. Rafi agrees as well, but I don't think it was Elisa's intent in all case. Network should have been aware and not okayed this. So then Brooks responds by saying, correct, but it happened and someone allowed it. Now it has to be fixed because it's not acceptable and it shouldn't have even taken place. She goes on to say it's not cool branding a spa with stickers, decals, and signatures, insignia. Does massaging on the show. This is my entire business model. So then Talene says, I know Lisa needs to get off her high horse. It's exhausting. So then Talene goes on to say this about Charger or something. And so this is what Brooke said in the end. She says, I don't like my toes being stepped on. I've worked really hard to be where I am, and I'm really upset right now. I support all my friends and their businesses, and I love a success story and seeing women win, independently securing the bag. I'm everyone's biggest cheerleader. I'm really upset, Tal. It's not cool, dude. I definitely do anything for my friends to see them win and be happy and be successful, but all I ask in return is the same support. I don't like what I saw today, and that was direct conflict with my business, babe. Nobody could deny it. It made me uncomfortable and extremely sad, and anyone who knows my hustle and grind would feel the same pain. It's not okay. In reality, that spa is considered my competitor, as a spa in Dubai would be. I feel like people aren't giving Brooks a fair shot. I know people don't like her, but for Lisa to be like, oh, they were plotting on me, this conversation doesn't look like plotting. It looks like two friends having a conversation and one friend venting about how upset and frustrated she was about the situation. I think the only way you could say that they were plotting is Talene mentioning the network, but hey, it happened. And I don't think it's fair to like discredit Brooks's feelings about feeling like Lisa is now a competitor of hers because she has the glass house, which is supposed to be like a hair salon and a spa where you get facials and all of that stuff. And I get it. Brooks didn't invite Lisa to her opening of her spa event. So why would she think that Lisa would have her event at her place? I understand that completely, but I do understand her feeling some type of way of being like, hey, like you could have asked me, like, you don't think that's in competition to my brand? Because I do feel like if one of the ladies started a pregnancy line, which is in direct conflict or competition with Lisa's brand, she would have a fit as well. But I also understand people don't like Brooks and don't like her behavior. So they're obviously like writing her off as being jealous and a hater. But I didn't get that from them. But that's just me. But let's get into the review. So I thought the spicy corner was over. But before I started to do the review portion of the video, I was on Instagram scrolling and I saw that the girls were still going. So let's finish it up. So Brooks, after she did her tweet about the screenshots of the text message conversation that she had between Talene, I still stand by what I said. I don't think the girls were plotting on Lisa. I feel like she was reaching. Now, was Brooks expressing her feelings? Yes, but when you look at what I think the only way you could say like they were plotting on her is from the network portion that Talene said, but even that wasn't plotting to me. I just didn't see it that way. But this is what Brooks had to say. She said, I had already spoken to Lisa before golf and didn't feel the need to bring this up at all. But Talene was looking for a moment and then inserted herself on camera. I didn't ask her to. That was her choice. Stanberry stayed silent after dropping bombs behind the scenes. Hashtag RHO Dubai. She goes on and she adds Lisa by saying, at Lisa Milan can confirm what really happened on the roof. For starters, I didn't want to discuss this all over again with Lisa and refused several times because I knew we already talked it out and was good. I clocked it that Talene wanted to use it for a moment. After me declining to have this conversation again with Lisa in front of everyone because I knew we were good, eventually I agreed to say something so we could just finish the story. Talene inserted herself again, and Lisa got pissed off at that point. Talene then confronted Stanberry and said, why are you over there like a mime? You were the one who started all of this, at Lisa Milan can confirm. And this is why it seems like Lisa's energy was more harsh towards Talene because she and I really didn't have an issue. So then I was kept scrolling because I thought that was it. Then I came across Reality Entertainment, and they got another portion of the conversation where Talene hopped in, and she said, now this is comedy. What are you trying to prove here? I was trying to diffuse it while still trying to calm you down. You were going nuts. Do you want me to share the messages you sent me about Lisa? Should we go there? And then Brooke said, be my guest. So then Stanberry entered the chat by saying, actually, you called us going nuts and asked us to send photos, which I did, but okay. And then Caroline Brooks responded to Stanberry by saying, also, we can address what happened when you and Talene tried to change the narrative at confessionals in New York. After Talene forgot she had already told at Lisa Milan that it was all you when you were in Lisa's hotel room at GA Golf Resort. And then Lisa hopped into the chat by saying, facts, Talene came to our hotel room and told Ayan and I that it was Stanberry who had the biggest issue behind the scenes. Miss. Honestly, y'all, this is the type of drama I like for Housewives. It's not that deep. We not attacking people's families. We not going, like, how do I say it? They ain't got enough drama to get that deep. So something like this, I think is frivolous, but it is entertaining. One thing I will give Brooks is anytime the girls are like, do you want to go there with me? She always ready to go. And like somebody said in the comments of one of these pages where I got all this information, they said as unhinged as Brooks is, she always be bringing receipts. And that is true. Brooks always brings receipts. Whether you like her or not, she is willing to showcase what she got. And the girls be confirming that she telling the truth. I mean, is her emotions all over the place? Yes. But when she say she got receipts, she has receipts. So it is what it is. But let's get into this review. So the episode opens up, and the first scene we have is Caroline Stanberry with her parents and Sergio. They're at the house. They're all pretty much reminiscing because her boys just turned 13, and their husband had a huge bat mitzvah for them. It looked like it was fun, okay? I think the kids almost dropped one of the kids, and Caroline was talking about how her father is Jewish and grew up Jewish. They even before the war, their name was something else, but they changed it after the war. And they're talking about it's World War II. Yeah, World War II. They changed their family name, for safety reasons, but her mom never converted. So Caroline was talking about how she's always been like in a multicultural, multi-religious family, not multicultural, but multi-religious family. And so she was like, it was a lovely event. Their father threw the party. And you could tell, I'm not saying Caroline ain't got no money, but like that looked like money. And I mean, Caroline's wedding looked like money, but for that just to be a 13-year-old's party or two 13-year-olds party, look lit. I'd have been out there dancing with the people. So, They start talking. As they're talking, something drops, so they're still putting on the finishing touches at the house. But Caroline is happy that everybody is finally able to see her home, especially her parents, because right now they've only been seeing it like through pictures. So she's like, I'm so glad y'all are here to actually like witness like the house and stuff, and experience it. We then see Sergio and the dad leave, and Caroline and her mom have a conversation about her doing therapy, like the hypnosis and, going back to boarding school. And her mom was like, that's what we did back then. And I think it really benefits you. Like it helped you with relationships. And Caroline said, no, no, no. No, it didn't. She said, I think it actually stunted the way I value relationships as like a friend, as a mother, as a wife. I'm very like, introverted. Like I go inside myself. I solve everything for myself, and that's not how it should be. And the mom was like, well, girl, like if it's a problem, you should be solving it by yourself. And I said, So she don't see nothing wrong with what she did. And when it was very wrong, I'm sorry. There's no way you can justify to me that sending kids off at the youngest, like 6 years old, to boarding school is healthy for them developmentally. Even back then, I feel like they should have known that. Like something should have clicked in your brain where it should have been like, I had babies, but I'm not taking care of them. I'm just gonna put them in a school with other little kids, with just strangers at 6 years old. Nobody was like, that's not right. Like nobody. And the way the mom was just like, well, that's what we did. When you rich and you got money, that's what you do. And Caroline was like, yeah, that is what you do. And then she said, I'm not going to punish my parents for what they did. Like, and I feel like she feels like they're too old at this point, and being angry and mad at them is not going to do anything for her, as well as she almost 50. And it's kind of like, what's the point in punishing them now when like I'm about to be 50, I'm an adult, I'm working through my issues now. And I mean, that to me is a very like mature approach for her, because if it was me, I'd have been irritated. I'd have been irritated, especially with the mama, because the mama was like, well, that's what we did. So then Caroline brings up about having kids. Girl, you don't want children. You don't want them. Caroline's, well, I want the house to be finished. Girl, if you keep your stalling, you don't want them. Like, or you don't want to carry. No, I don't think she wants to carry a baby. I also don't think she wants to have a child. And I think that's okay. I feel like Sergio should have like got the memo. Like he should have really thought about that before him being like, hey, I'm going to marry you. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, Caroline's wasting his time. No, he's wasted his own time. Because when they got together, I think Sergio was like 20, like 28, and Caroline was like maybe like 43, 44. You married her when she was in her 40s and you were in your 20s. You knew what it was. You could do math. You should have thought the long game. Like when she died, what I'm going to do? That's a you problem at this point, not a her problem. And I mean, she should have thought of that about that too. Like, do I really want to be with somebody that wants kids? Am I depriving him of that? But at the end of the day, he proposed to you. So he made the choice to be like, we gonna do this. And I mean, she could have said no, but she said yes. And I feel like once she said yes, he should have came to terms with like a possibility that I may be the last person to carry my family's name. And that's just it. That just we have is Lisa's Mina Rowe event, and it's at this spa that majority of the ladies go to for like wellness and healing, called I think like Heart and Soul or something like that. But she has Mina Rowe plastered everywhere. It's on the walls, it's on the ground. She got her decal everywhere. Like she stamped her brand all up and through that place. And the ladies were complaining about it. And granted, I understood to a certain extent, but it reminded me of a brand trip. I've never been on one, would love to go, but based off of what I've seen, when I've seen popular influencers that I follow go to brand trips, the brand is plastered everywhere. Like it's on bags, it's on drink cups, it's on the wall. And that's basically what Lisa was doing. It was just everywhere. Now, we find out that she's doing this because like she is launching body oil and like kind of like and tummy mask for Mina Rowe. And we know Mina Rowe is their demographic is pregnant women. So a lot of the stuff that she was marketing to the women was all for like women to take care of themselves. She said she wanted to go with really target women that have like postpartum and like the mommy blues. So this is supposed to be like the body oil and the tummy mask is supposed to be kind of like self-care rooted, like, get the girls into like reloving their body as it goes through changes and coming to love themselves even more after giving birth and all of that stuff. So everyone is like, golly, girl, it's a lot of her name everywhere. Like, Sarah makes a comment being like, girl, I didn't even know this was Heart and Soul. Brooks is upset because Brooks is like, girl, is you trying to compete with me? Because I have a spa. Why why couldn't we just do this at my place? And why are you buying this place? Because why is Mina Rowe everywhere? A lot of people, I think, in this group find Lisa to be obnoxious, and to a certain extent I understand where they're coming from. But to me, even though I felt like her name being everywhere was obnoxious, I felt like it was a brand trip. So like, based off of what I've seen online, I was kind of okay with it. I thought it was a bit much, to have it on the ground, on the wall everywhere. But I'm like, well, if Heart and Soul was okay with them doing this and they, paid them to do all of this, and they said it was cool, then I don't think everybody else should have an issue. We find out that the ladies are going to do yoga and Talene's going to lead. We see a flashback scene of Lisa asking Talene, or Talene pretty much asking Lisa to be a part, like a collaboration. And they're like, okay, cool. They got on yoga outfits with Mina Rowe everywhere. When I tell you, Lisa says, y'all gonna remember this name and know the name Mina Rowe. And so they do yoga. Ayan sucks at it. Girl, I hate her wig. I hate braided wigs in general. They never look real. They always look bulky and they look like a helmet. And I wish she would have had a maybe if it was black, but then again, no. Braided wigs are just not, no one, I have never seen anybody like perfect the braided wig and do it correctly. Maybe one person, but it was a cosplay and the hair color was like bright pink and like she did great, but I could still tell it was like a wig. And granted, you're supposed to know that it is a wig, but it still looked like a helmet. It just looks, and Ayan's wig was just horrible. That helmet wig was horrible. But they were all having fun and they end up breaking up into groups. So we find out that Lisa's mother-in-law is there, Pam, and we have a scene where it's Sarah, Lisa, Pam, and some other lady. And Lisa is asking Sarah, well, how are you? How is Maktoum after the whole like kidnapping situation? And she's like, he's still scared. Sarah's like, he's scared of going to the bathroom. And Lisa's like, man, I hope this isn't something that scars him for the rest of his life. And Sarah's like, well, I take him with healing, so he knows like you got to get over it. But and I like what Lisa said. I mean, I guess I'm just different because I wouldn't have told my kids everything. And I agree with Lisa. Like, sometimes they don't need to be telling everything. And granted, I totally understand that he had to speak to the police and give his story, but some of the things he didn't need to know about that lady taking Sarah's panties, about stealing jewelry and all of that stuff. Like, I feel like she be overloading like him with information that's not needed. And shout out to one of my mutuals. She's actually, I think, I think she's a psychologist or a counselor. Either way, she was like, yeah, Sarah gives too much and her boundaries with her son are very like questionable. And I was like, okay, because I kind of felt crazy because I questioned Sarah's boundaries with her child because I feel like she gives him too much and it's like she treats him as like her little best friend. And granted, I do think parents should be friends with their kids. I got good friendship relationships with my parents, but it's like at some point there needs to be like a line. And I feel like as an adult, yeah, you could be your mom and dad's like little best friend, but as like a 6 or 7-year-old, you are a child. Certain things you don't need to know, in my opinion. But I do hope they continue with therapy with him so he can work on how, like, getting past that fear, because that is scary. That's scary for anybody to know that you trusted somebody, they were in your home and they were plotting to get you kidnapped. And what if it would have worked and they would have got you? We don't know where Maktoum would have been. Or Sarah, because they probably would have got Sarah too. Wouldn't have known. So we see the girls break up. So you see Ayan and Lisa in one of the rooms to get massages. And then you see Brooks, Talene, and Stanberry in one room getting massages. Ayan and Lisa first. So Lisa is like, so how are you and Stanberry? I don't get this jealousy with Lisa when it comes to Ayan. And Ayan likes to act like she don't like it in the confessionals, but she be so giddy at the fact that Lisa is jealous at that with her friendship with Stanberry. Like, she's in the confessional being like, I feel like I'm getting pulled left and right, but with Lisa, I'm getting pulled all the way. I lean more to Lisa, and Lisa just talks about how, she's the reason why we fighting. And I'm like, she's not the reason why y'all are fighting, Lisa. Y'all are fighting because Ayan betrayed your trust. And it's hard for you to believe that she would do you like that because y'all have been such good friends. And you want to blame Stanberry because you want to feel like Stanberry's like puppeteering Ayan. But Ayan did that because Ayan wanted to do that. Whether it was because she wanted to buddy up to Stanberry or she did it because she was selfish and she just wanted to have a moment. Either way, Ayan did that. Stanberry didn't force her to share the voice note that you sent. And I mean, you also need to take ownership that this would have never happened if you wouldn't have sent her the voice note. But I feel like Lisa just wants to be mad at Stanberry because she doesn't want to have ill feelings with Ayan. But at the end of the day, honestly, Stanberry really didn't cause the rift between Ayan and Lisa. I feel like things have probably already been brewing between them because this voice note situation to me is not that deep for their friendship to be fractured in such a way, in my opinion. So Ayan just talks about how she wants them to be cool. And she was like, she apologized to me. At first, I didn't believe it. But after Bali, and I really thought about it, I really do feel like Stanberry's apology was very sincere. Like, it was very sincere. So then the scene switches to Brooks, Talene, and Stanberry. And, like, they're getting massages. And then Brooks is like, I kind of feel some type of way that she had this event here and she didn't come to the glass house because they're all like, oh, she probably paid a good penny to like have her event here because everybody comes here. Like, everyone in the group comes to Heart and Soul. And Brooks is like, if she would have came to the glass house, I would have did it for free, because we're friends like that. And Stanberry was like, well, if it bothers you, don't talk to her. And then Talene was like, you should talk to her because that is kind of messed up. Like, we're in this friend group. She should have used you. So then Brooks is in the confessional being like, yeah, I feel some type of way. Like, why wouldn't you use me? And like a lot of people pointed out, Brooks was real giddy in the beginning of the season where she was like, she had an opening for the glass house and she invited the people that were most important to her there. We didn't see Ayan and we didn't see Lisa. So it's kind of like, if you didn't consider them important to you to invite them to your opening, why does it matter that she didn't use you? But then on the other hand, I do see Brooks's point of view where it's like, we on this show together. I'm promoting my business, the Glass House. It would have been great if you would have had your event here. Like, rub my back like I'm rubbing your back. Like, I came here to support you at your event. I supported you last season at the fashion show. The least, like, I think Brooks feels like you could have used my event to push my brand further. And we already know Brooks is stressed about the glass house. Like, she's put so much money into it that I think it just bothers her that Lisa didn't reach out to her. But it's kind of like, well, y'all weren't cool like that for her to do something like that. But I get where Brooks is coming from. I also get where Lisa is like, well, girl, we not friends like that. And I ain't want to use you, so I ain't use you. You know what I mean? But it was interesting to see Stanberry and Talene wound Brooks up because as much as they say Brooks be going nuts, I do believe in the spicy corner where she was like, Stanberry was sending me pictures and then Sergio was saying stuff to me. I think they know how to amp Brooks up, but Brooks is an adult, so she has to learn not to allow people to get her to that point. But like, even with her sitting there, at first she wasn't like, I could tell Brooks wasn't trying to go there, but then they were like, no, you have a valid reason to be upset and mad. And then you could tell in her face, like, the wheels started turning, like, oh, like, okay, it is okay for me to be upset and mad. Like, she should have contacted me. She should have called me and stuff like that. And so I feel like they be doing things to Brooks. Like, I'm not saying Brooks is innocent, but I also feel like all of them, like, nobody's hands is clean. I feel like they be poking and prodding at it, all of it, at each other. Let's talk about Seba and Sarah. Girls, Sarah is a bird. Sarah is a bird. I don't care what nobody say. Sarah is a bird, and this whole like I'm an enlightened being and I'm healed and all of that stuff. Sarah is not healed. She's a bird, and she's using this whole like I'm a healed person, and I feel like it's my duty to heal other people as a way to excuse a kind's behavior and stick with them. That's just what it is. Cause I already told y'all that light-skinned mixed demon, okay, with green eyes was gonna take her through the ringer. like you, they good to look at, but not to date. Okay. And I was just kind of like, girl, I was with Seba better than me because I'd have been like, you're being stupid. I have many a times have told my friend, girl, I mean this with all love, but you sound slow and you're being stupid. You're being slow right now. The dots ain't connecting. So she sits down and she just tells Seba like she's stressed out. Her and the kind been arguing from Dubai to Germany through FaceTime. Girl, you're not gonna be arguing on the phone that I pay a bill for. I would have hung up on him and blocked him. Girl, I would have blocked him when he asked me to not do a job for $45K. Because he's insecure and he didn't want me to be around another man that takes his shirt off for a living just like he does for a living. Yeah, no. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, girl. So Sarah ends up just being like, I don't want to settle anymore. Like I settled with my first husband and, I guess, I don't know if that's the one that tapped into her bank account. No, that's one that made her a single mother. Then the second one was the one that like tapped into her bank account. It was like taking her money. And then I think she also said she dealt with abuse. So Sarah's just like, I'm done with settling. I don't want to settle anymore. And so Seba is in, then why are you talking to a kind? Because that's what you're doing. And in the confessional, Seba is just pretty much like, a kind is not as accomplished as Sarah. And because of that, he is going to try to control her to like deal with his own insecurities. And she has a point because him telling her not to do that job and you not my husband, you not my boyfriend. And even if you was my husband or my boyfriend, you are not going to be telling me what to do. On top of that, you don't pay no bills in this house. Because if you would have told me not to take that job and then would have handed me $50K in my hand, that's different. I'd have been like, all right, baby, you got it. But to tell me not to take a $45K job and you ain't giving me no money and you not putting on no bills, get out of my face. Okay? Get out. Okay? Like the audacity for you to ask me that. Okay? And so then Sarah starts to get like emotional. And Seba keeps asking her like, why are you still here? And she's like, well, I'm healed and I can see people's wounds. Girl, no, you are using being healed, because she's not healed, in order to justify staying with somebody that you know is toxic because you like the way that they look and you want to lay in the bed with them and do adult things. Miss me with this whole healed thing, Sarah. Because I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired. Irritated. So we then see Talene call everybody and tell them that she wants to take a staycation, a 2-day staycation at one of the hotels where they're going to be playing golf, and everybody's invited. All of the husbands can come, and it's supposed to be a fun time. We see everybody pull up, but Brooks is late. They get to their bedrooms or their hotel rooms, and they're actually very nice hotel rooms. Den area, nice place for like eating, and the rooms are a nice size. Brooks get there being like, I was late because I have a job in my own spa. Okay, my own spa, Lisa Milan. Get like me, get your money out. I said, Brooks, shut up. Shut up. So everyone finally gets to their rooms and they all decide to change, and they get down to, I think she said, Talene was like, get down there at 3 p.m. so they could all get in the go-karts and go to the golf range. So Ayan comes out in this god-awful, like, blush dress that looks like it's been, like, cut up. It's ugly. But she gonna golf in that. And see, when I did my my critiques on the dresses for the reunion, I was like, this is why Ayan's outfit wasn't so wowing to me. Because it's like, we see you in these gowns all the time, that when we finally see you in something that's reunion worthy or something that should be reunion worthy, or if it is like it's the reunion, it's nothing wows us, because I've seen you in dresses like this all the time. And that's basically what I got from Ayan. Like, I was just kind of like, girl, why are we in this? And the dresses are starting to get obnoxious because they don't go with anything. Like I said before, it would be different if her couture outfits went with what was going on. When I tell you, I would have ate up if Ayan would have walked in there looking like a golf ball or an exaggerated golf girl outfit. Like, that's what I want to see you in, not these huge ball gowns that don't go with like the aesthetic or the event that you're going to. Cuz now it's not cute anymore. It's just annoying and it feels like attention seeking. And then you have Seba, who was telling everybody in the group chat that like she's always golf, that she could probably teach the men what to do. She's even in the confessional talking about, Sergio's not even looking at me because, the men feel intimidated. Girl, she can't hit a ball worth for shit. Like, she kept hitting the green and like just whack. She looked like me when my dad take me golfing. Just kept whacking the ground, just whacking it. And then she finally got it. And when she hit the ball, it went into the pond. And like everybody was like, girl, you been lying. And like Stanberry said, girl, you don't keep telling people that you can golf. And then on the day it's time to golf, you suck. As everyone's golfing and having a good time, there was a funny moment when before they got onto the green, we got Ayan driving Lisa, and Ayan sucks at driving, even a go-kart. She says she doesn't have a license because it's too much going on and she can't focus. And so as she's driving the go-kart, she almost runs them into a bush. You got Rich and Ayan's husband dying laughing, and you got Lisa like trying to grab the wheel like, Ayan, this way, this way, this way. I said I would have been Lisa. I'm not getting in there with you. I'm not. So we have this scene where what's her name? Talene and Lisa have a conversation where Lisa was like, girl, I heard that some people were upset about the event. And Talene was like, well, Brooks did feel some type of way, but I think you should talk to her. And Lisa's like, okay, what was, like, trying to get more information out of Talene, like, what was the issue? And Talene being like, no, I really think that you should talk to her. Her feelings were she kind of felt uncomfortable. There were some issues. So then we see Lisa in her confessional being like, when she went to pay for everybody's, like, treatments that they got at the event, like massages, facials, or whatever, she said one person decided that they didn't want to partake in it, and it was Brooks. And when she inquired more about it, the person told Lisa that Brooks said she didn't feel comfortable using these treatments because that was her competitor, pretty much. And so Lisa's like, okay, I'm going to talk to Brooks. So after the girls are on the golf course, they actually go up to the rooftop to sit down to mingle and relax before they have dinner later on that night. And Lisa thanks everybody for coming to the event. She's like, I appreciate all of you, but I heard that there were some issues. So like, Brooks, what's up? And Brooks is like, well, and Brooks explained, she said, well, I kind of felt some type of way. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to use my competitor's stuff. I have my business, the Glass House, and like, it felt kind of like it felt like you owned the spot, like you were trying to compete with me. And Lisa's like, that's just branding. That's just branding. And that is what it was supposed to be. It's branding. Like, at any event, you would brand the event for yourself. And so Talene was like, but you didn't think it was a lot, that it was obnoxious? So then Ayan jumps in and she's like, why are y'all upset about her event and her branding? Like, if that's her event, that's her event. If that's what she wanted to do, that's what she wanted to do. So Lisa, you could tell, was getting irritated because she's like, that is like what you're supposed to do for a brand event. She also brings up about what happened last season, where she was like, last year, y'all came for my business. You had Sergio saying that like his friend paid for my business. Then you had Stanberry saying that I steal designs. Now we're at my event. Everything's all cool. It was a perfect event. Now all of a sudden there's these issues about my branding. Y'all are just jealous and haters. Like, that's just what it is. It's giving jealousy and haters and you can't take it. So then Lisa ends up just telling Brooks, like, girl, you weren't on my mind. You weren't on my mood board. You weren't on anything. Like, we didn't have the event there to compete with you or to like cast you aside. We had it there because I wanted it to be there. And so Brooks kind of ate it. But then you see Talene and Lisa get into it. Brooks just quiet, watching them as they fight amongst themselves as she sits in the middle, because she's just kind of like, because Talene was like, it was a bit much. Like, you were more obnoxious. And so then that's when Lisa was just like, girl, shut up. Like, when you have a business, then come talk to me. And so then Talene is like, I do have a business. Don't play with me like that. And so Lisa's like, well, it ain't on the level of my business. Okay, what I got going on. So once you get there, then we can have a conversation. Until then, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. So then Talene's like, don't speak down to me or don't be so condescending. Like, get off your high horse, Lisa. And Lisa is like, girl, don't be a bitch. And then I won't have to speak to you that way. So then we see Stanberry get up. She going to go refill her drink. Like, she's like, nothing I would say would add to this conversation. It's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with you. So then Lisa gets loud, and like you could tell she's irritated because the vein in the side of her neck was popping. And she was like, don't get bitchy with me, Talene. Like, don't do this with me. So then you have Sarah and Seba on the side, but Sarah really being like, hey, it don't got to be all of this. Like, we don't need to be doing all this yelling. Lisa's rolling her eyes because she's irritated because she's like, y'all coming at me. And just because I'm reciprocating the same energy, all of a sudden it's a problem. I didn't like what Sarah said in the confessional where she was like, normally when somebody can't control the environment or the situation, they get loud and angry. And I don't think that's true. I understand that Sarah does not like Lisa. Like, they've never really got meshed well. And it's the whole voicemail situation doesn't make it any better. But I don't believe what she is saying. Like, Lisa was well within her right to be upset. And I do feel like she was matching Talene's energy. Because my thing is, like, Talene did start the pointing. Like, no, Lisa pointed, but like, Talene was very much like this. And I just feel like you can't tell someone not to point when you was pointing too. You know, you can't do that. So in this instance, I don't think Lisa was being aggressive. I don't think that she was doing too much. I think she had a right to feel her feelings and say how she felt. That's just how I see it. The last scene we have for the night is the restaurant scene where all the husbands and wives come and sit down. They play some game. I wasn't really into it. I wasn't paying attention to it. But what I was paying attention to was Ayan trying to check Brooks, and I felt like Ayan was doing too much because her being like she didn't understand what was going on at the table when you was sitting right there at that table at the rooftop didn't make sense to me because she ends up saying that it's giving jealousy, and Brooks is like, I'm not jealous. I felt some type of way because I have my own business, and I felt like that was like stepping on my toes, but I'm not jealous. And then Ayan keeps saying, but you are, and I felt like Ayan was trying to poke Brooks or goad her into like freaking out or having a Brooks moment where she get loud and irate, but that didn't happen because then she's like, Lisa, we talked about this. I thought we were cool because they did in the last conversation where Brooks kind of like got them to calm down after Sarah was like, hey, y'all chill out. Brooks was like, Lisa, me and you are good. We had a conversation. We talked. It's cool. It's cool. I'm cool. I know where you stand. You know where I stand. We're good. So Brooks is telling Lisa, I thought we was good. But then Lisa is like, it was given that y'all were like jealous of me or jealousy. So then Talene is like rolling her eyes. And it's interesting how Lisa and Talene were going back and forth and Rafi ain't say nothing. But when it was Brooks and Talene going back and forth, he was ready to get amped. And I feel like the only reason why he ain't say nothing is because Rich was sitting right beside Lisa. And I really feel like Rafi knew he got loud. Rich was going to get loud. Loud too. The English in him might come out. I don't know. So Brooks is just kind of like, I'm not jealous. So they then start arguing about like the hair salon of it all, where Lisa's like, you have a hair salon. And then I think Brooks is like, but I do other things. And then she was like, you don't even get your hair done at your hair salon. And Brooks is like, yes, I do. They then started bringing up the Africans. So I guess there's like African salons like we have here. And I guess that's where Brooks goes to get her hair done. But then you got Brooks in the confessional being like, I have the same glam team who I've had since Adam was 4. Just because I got a brand new salon, it wasn't like I was gonna throw them people to the wayside when they've been keeping me the way I am since then. So yeah, girl, miss me with that. So then I don't know. No, I think what's her name? Brooks was trying to get Talene to jump in, and Talene was like, girl, I'm not about to get into this because I've been called a bitch like 2 times too many, and I'm just like, I don't want to argue with nobody tonight. So then Lisa's like, I called you a bitch because you was being a bitch. Now, in this point, I felt like Lisa was getting aggressive because I was like, Lisa, at this point, You said what you said. You cleared Talene. There was no need for you to like get amped like this. But I guess she was just like, I'm sick of y'all. I guess she was like, I'm sick of y'all. So y'all gonna feel me tonight. So then Lisa was just like, I called you a bitch because you was being a bitch. And Talene was like, wow, that's trashy. And Lisa was like, well, you was being ghetto. And for some reason, you got Brooks being like ghetto was such a bad word. You do have Rich trying to tell Lisa to let it go. When Lisa was going back and forth with Brooks, he was like, girl, like, he was like, Lisa, chill out, like, calm down. It ain't that deep. But everyone was like shocked that she called that lady ghetto. So then you got Ayan in the confessional being like, I really want to tell Lisa to calm down and chill because it's not that deep, but I don't want to embarrass my friend in front of everybody because I don't roll like that. And that just leads me to believe that that's what Ayan is more mad about with Lisa, is that she felt embarrassed at the table in Bali when Lisa was like, I don't trust you anymore. Because I feel like as a friend, you could have checked her in front of them people. I'd have been like, Lisa, baby, you up here? Just come here. You at a 10, just bring it to like a 6 or a 7, okay? Breathe. Breathe. I know you mad right now, but breathe. Like that's all that needed to be said. You know what I'm saying? But Lisa was just like, cause you get and they act like she called her like us, like out her name. She was like, cause you're ghetto. And I don't feel like she was wrong for calling Talene ghetto because Talene called her trashy. And to me, trashy and ghetto are the same words, depending on the context you use them. If I was like, girl, ghetto, or I've been like, girl, they was being trashy up in there, they're interchangeable. So everyone being like, because she called her ghetto is wild to me. Unless over there in Dubai, ghetto is like a bad, like an egregious term to call. And that could be the case. It could be. But I cackled because I was just like, oh, Lisa said, because you was being ghetto. All right. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.